exam moment. And I think that you need to understand that already from discussions, from interactions, from seeing what your groups have come, we've accomplished our goal. You are all now officially awesome librarians. And awesome projects are a nice sort of byproduct. But really, don't look at this as a final exam. Don't look at this as that moment that you have to prove yourself. You've already done that. Really, today is a celebration of what you've done. This is looking at what each other has done, taking a look, asking some questions, thinking about rich ideas, but it's not an evaluation, it's not an interrogation. The idea here is for us to really see what's possible. But remember that our end product is you, not what shows up on the screen. So, with that little setup, I will shut up if we are ready, and we will just start off with the engaging ones.
Good morning, everybody. We are the engaging ones, and we thought that it was kind of a cruel joke when we saw the schedule because we knew that we had developed a reputation as being a little bit of a bunch of night owls. And so, we were notorious for staying up until 2 o'clock in the morning working on our project because we didn't get a whole lot of time to spend together unless we were here during the immersion sessions. And then we saw the program, and we were first on the agenda this morning. So good morning to all of you. We are fully caffeinated. We have been known as the Engaging Ones collectively for a while, but we want to just take a moment to remind everybody who each of us is, and we'll get that started.
Let me introduce Heather Beverley from the Cook Memorial Library, which is a north suburban suburb of Chicago.
And I would like to introduce Kerry Bowden. She is the head of circulation at Danville Area Community College, which is in East Central Illinois.
It is. It's my pleasure to introduce Keshia Garnett. Keshia is the branch manager for the West Englewood branch of the Chicago Public Library.
And I'd like to introduce Portia Latalladi. She is the head of children's services for the Garfield Ridge branch of the Chicago Public Library that's in Chicago.
And I would like to introduce Briana Perlot, a librarian at the Beverley Public Library, which is a western suburb of Chicago.
And we would also like to introduce Tony Malero, a man who wears many hats and who obviously has a great sense of style. To mentor.
Brave man, 5 women, he's been great.
Yay! He's our official clicker today, because Prezi doesn't allow remote clicking for some reason. So we also need to introduce Project Sheldon. Project Sheldon is what really brought us together. We came together because we had a shared interest in serving teens and finding a new way to connect with teens. We all come from different types of libraries, but we all wind up serving teens in different capacities. And Project Sheldon was born out of addressing that need. We're going to demo Project Sheldon here pretty soon, but as a way of introduction, we need to let you know that our project, it's no secret, we built an app. We didn't come here saying we were going to come to ILEAD to build an app, but that's what it turned into. Project Sheldon is more than just an app, though. We feel that Project Sheldon embodies the true spirit of ILEAD. Project Sheldon is all of these things. It is innovative, but it's not innovation for innovation's sake. It's not trendy for the sake of following a trend. It's because we recognize that this is where libraries are going and where we're going to have to go if we're going to continue to reach the populations we need to serve. Innovative in that we are adopting technology that exists but may not have already been used for this purpose. We aren't the first people to build an app that's geared toward a library, but this one is different in that it's truly participatory, truly interactive in some ways that you might not expect. So yeah, it's trendy, but we're a little more focused on the team aspect of it and the collaborative aspect of it. We are also very committed to keeping Project Sheldon accessible. Right now, we've designed the app so that it can be freely adapted, depending on what a library might need to use it for. We're also committed to creating a collaborative network of libraries that want to participate in Project Sheldon. And many of you that are here today will be able to leave today knowing that you as an individual, or you, meaning your entire library, are welcome and included in our process. We want to keep it cost effective. I'll be honest, we have no idea how much this is going to take to keep going. The design aspect of it, we used as many free tools as possible, but we know that as we build a database and build a network, we're going to need a little more backup. And so we want to keep it free for teens, but we'll try to keep it as cost effective as possible for the librarians and the libraries that want to use it. Heather is going to demonstrate the app. Tony's going to click through it. We also have some tablets that we can pass around that are running a demo version of the app.
So you've heard about Project Sheldon, and now we are really excited to show you Project Sheldon. One of the things we wanted was something simple and easy to use. Mainly, we wanted our teens to know what we offered, and we also noticed that our teens, when they want to be entertained, they want to be entertained now. I'm bored, help me. And we also had the problem where teens would be coming in and saying, why don't you ever show movies or play games? And we're like, well, we do, but nobody comes. Hence, Project Sheldon. And the way it works is we just have this simple app screen with 3 buttons. And the 3 buttons have very simple functions. If you click Entertain Me Now, you are taken to a map that, based on your GPS location in your cell phone, pulls up the calendars of the nearest libraries and the maps. This is in beta mode, so right now it's not filtered for teen events because I'm really sure teens want to go to the Board of Trustees meeting. No offense, Lincoln Library, I'm sure it's a great meeting, but teens, maybe not. One great feature about this, though, from the library end is the library has to do nothing but enter their events in the calendar as they normally would. Our app is created so we automatically pull whatever you put in your calendar. What's better than that? No work on your part. It's just there in the team's hands. If we go back to Project Sheldon, we have the Entertain Me Soon button. This one is still in the works, but the way this is a teen can then pick a date and location. So maybe today they're in Springfield, tomorrow they're going to be back up in Chicago. So they can see what's going on in Chicago on their given day. And again, since it is in beta, we're seeing Meet with Congresswoman. Actually, they might like that. I know my teens would. So this is what's great about Entertain Me Soon. The last button is one of the buttons that we're really pleased with, and it's the Talk to Me button. One thing that is universal among our teens is they want to be heard. They want to be listened. So Talk to Me is designed for teens to be listened. This is the part where we do ask for opt-in from libraries. If they hit Talk to Me, they are taken to a database of willing librarians, and their phone will connect to the nearest librarian GPS location, and they will be able to talk to that librarian through the method they choose, be it text, email, or phone. And again, that's the method that the librarian chooses. And there's lots of ways we can do this because Google, thank you, Google, has wonderful things, free online phone numbers, where you can text and you get it as an email. So we make it nice and simple for you as a librarian, and you just have to opt into it. Right now, if you have the apps in your hands, the Talk to Me button actually takes you to our survey, which we're going to talk about a little later. So if you want, we'd love it if you filled it out. So we really hope you're as excited about Project Sheldon as we are. This has been a lot of fun. And right now, we've showed you Project Sheldon, but how did we get to Project Sheldon? What was the process? So we'd like to give you a bit of a behind-the-scenes look at the creation of it. And Bree is going to start with talking about our process.
Okay, I'm going to talk about how we got together. 11 months ago, back in November, none of us knew any of the rest of each other. We came together through WebJunction and over listservs, looking for a way to participate in ILEAD. We'd all heard of the project and we wanted to be there. And we found each other. When we met back at the last session 7 months ago, it was a happy coincidence that we worked quite easily together and we very quickly became friends, and that was fantastic.
That's okay. We get along so great that we finish each other's sentences. You know, 7 months ago, we were complete strangers to each other, and now we're getting along great, and we came together with a great project. And one of the things that we discovered 7 months ago is that we had a shared interest in teens. So we came up with the following objective. And Bree, want to share the objective?
How can libraries and librarians use existing technology to attract teens to young adult library programming throughout the state? And our solution? Build the app.
Portia's going to tell us about the plan. Keshia's going to tell us about the plan.
What we discovered from talking with our community representatives is that we needed to do 3 things. One, the teens did like to get their information via their cell phone or mobile. 2, librarians wanted us to use something that they already had or that they could get free. And then the 3rd thing was that this had to be cost effective. And if you've ever dealt with teens or librarians, you know that translates into cheap, preferably free. So that's
our favorite word.
That's what got us rolling down the tour.
Okay, so tech time. What platform were we going to use? How were we going to go about this? We looked, and our journey to find the perfect app or the perfect application took us on a journey to the end of the internet. So,
and as we went down that road to the end of the internet, we did run into some roadblocks, or maybe bumps you could call them. The first thing was because we did get together, just via a posting, would you like to be my friend, essentially. We were kind of spread out, so getting together for meetings was something that was a bit difficult, but we made use of things like Doodle Calendar to set dates, and we also made a whole lot of use of Adobe Connect so that we could meet online, and we did do some talking via telephone and then definitely at each of the locations. We also we also had a little trouble deciding which platform to go with. We were kind of, we had 2, iOS or Android, and we ended up going with Android simply because there was a whole lot of free development tools out there for Android.
Also the fact that although we were building an app,
none
of us had a smartphone.
No smartphones, and we didn't have the programming experience that we thought that we would need in order to do something like this. So, but through the courses here, and then basically beating the instructors over their head and forcing them to help us, no matter how little time they had, we were able to get through that also.
So you probably wanted to go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, all right.
And you probably have and we had a little trouble coming up with a name for our project, and so we wanted something cool, we wanted something funky, we wanted something that the teens would say, oh my God, I can't wait to use that. So we had some cool, funky meetings, and nothing came out of those. It's like, maybe. So we ended up giving our project a code name. We thought that was cool, but then that created even more questions because people were like, well, what does that really mean? So we'd like to show you a little clip to explain what that does mean.
Oh no, no sound.
Oh,
It's on mute.
Is it?
No.
No. Well,
It's a very, very funny episode.
Big Bang Theory.
Bus pants utilization episode. It's hysterical. You can find it on YouTube.
we had sound yesterday. Essentially, Sheldon is being pain.
And he wants an app named after him.
himself.
And he's willing to do whatever it takes to get said app.
Anagram, whatever it takes.
Sadly, he doesn't get his app named after him, so we took pity on him and named our app after
Yes,
him.
because we love Sheldon.
At least for the code name.
So that's the origin of the code name. You can find the clip for yourself. We'll post a link to the clip.
And besides, what's a presentation without some technical difficulties?
Exactly. So we decided on Project Sheldon just because we needed to be able to refer to it as something other than the project that the engaging ones are working on. Project Sheldon has really taken off over the past couple of weeks. We knew that we didn't want to wind up in the same state of affairs that the guys on the Big Bang Theory did, because at the end of that episode, they splinter off into 2 different teams, and they aren't working together, and we want to keep working together. So, permanent name or not, we knew that we had to keep moving forward. By the time that we created this demo, and we have to thank Chad Norwood, who is actually Chicago-based, he has freely available Google Calendar Maps mashup code available through his website. That was the major thing that we found on our journey to the end of the internet. And he agreed to let us use this for free while we're going through our development stages. Once we knew that we had a working demo that you guys may be still playing with, we wanted to take it to librarians. We already knew that teens were going to love it because in our observations and all of that and talking to them directly, we know that they're obsessed with their phones. So getting the input directly from librarians was going to be critical to our next phase in the process. So last week we went up to ILA, we held a talk table session. We got fantastic feedback, and we're hoping to get fantastic feedback from all of you too. Some of it is already being incorporated into the development process as we move along further. So we got our bold, brilliant, brave on and made a case for ourselves, and thankfully we were welcomed with open arms.
The next step is a Name That App contest. And this is what we referred to earlier, so you had a chance to see what it actually looks like when you go to the link that you see listed there. So, and there's something in it for you. A chance to win a $25 gift certificate if you think you have a name for this project.
We're open to suggestions. We're open to all kinds of suggestions.
Something that would be appealing to teens and not confusing for librarians.
Please help us find the cool. Okay, throughout this process, we learned a lot. And one of the first things we learned is that while it's not as easy as it looks, it's not as hard as it seems. Basically, when we started this, none of us had a smartphone. None of us had really worked with an app. We had no idea what we were getting into, and it was like daunting. We're staring at this, are we going to have to build from code, from scratch, build it from the bottom up? What are we going to do? And by searching and researching and badgering instructors for ideas, we found that it could be done. And our app runs on a great platform of various free services on the web. Google Maps has been, actually Google products itself has been a godsend to us. Google offers lots of free open sourceware. We used App Inventor as the base of our app, which is free to use and easy, and it coordinates well with Google Maps and Google Calendars. And our Google Calendars works very well with iCalendars on Apple, which will help us if we transition into an Apple environment. And the reason we went to iCal is because for those of you with eVanced calendars, which is very big in Illinois, eVanced can be transferred into iCal, which then can be transferred into Google, which then can be matched with our Google Map, and then shows up on our app. So it sounds really complicated, but really it's kind of easy to do once we figured it out. And that gives us our idea of fishing for a lifetime. It's that old proverb, if you give a man a fish, he can eat for a day. You teach him to fish, and he can eat for a lifetime. And we figured if we can learn it, we can help other people to learn it. So this is something that's going to keep on growing. The project is designed to be open-ended and adapted. So if you look at this and go, I could use this for my library, we love that.
So where do we go from here? We go to you. We need your input. We need more feedback. We want to hear everything that you love about it, everything that scares you about it, because God knows we've been scared about it off and on. We are also, as a team, very committed to continuing this project. We feel like it is sustainable, even at just the level that we're using it right now. We're not graphic designers, we're not professional computer programmers, but we have an eye and we have an ear towards what our teens want. And so as long as we have that input coming back from them and great input from the library community, we feel like we can go forward with this for a long time. That's pretty much where the direction that we're headed, but we're open.
We have a lot up our sleeves, a lot in the works. Now, any project, big or small, is not done alone, and we have a lot of people to thank. First, we each had some wonderful community reps that we refer to often. When we first decided on an app, we spent a lot of time talking with our community reps and getting advice from them on what they saw in their teams. So each of us would like to thank our community reps. For myself, I'd love to thank Ellen Jennings, the teen librarian at Kirk Memorial Library. She's been a great sounding board, and she keeps me connected right with those teens in our district, and it's been a huge help.
I want to give a shout out to Jasmine Brown at the Berwyn Library. She's our school liaison, and she's done what Heather just said.
And I'd like to give a shout out to my teens. We collectively call ourselves GRIT, Garfield Ridge Incredible Teens.
Oh.
They were really great, great sounding boards to find out how to best use this app.
Well, my community rep was actually my niece, so from time to time we weren't even talking to each other. She was really great, and I'd also like to thank my staff back at the library because I changed jobs in the middle of this, and so being away, at the very end and things like that, they took over and kept things going for me.
And I want to thank Ricky Williams Sr. at Danville Area Community College. I also want to thank his students and my students. And the person that I think we all really want to thank is sitting up here in the second row. Her name is Dr. Penny McConnell. She is my dean. She's the dean of awesome at Danville Area Community College.
We also had a lot of technical advisors for this. Yes, we built the app ourselves, but we had a lot of help along the way. We owe a huge thanks to Chad Norwood for letting us use his open source code, and we really hope to meet him in person sometime. Right now it's only internet emails, but he's been so kind and great to work with. We also owe a huge thank you to David Lankus over there, who spent about 3 hours talking with us about the various possibilities of apps, and he didn't run screaming from the room at all of our silly questions. So thank you so much. We also owe a thank to Andrew Bolin back there, who talked to us about the code and how it could work, and let us know that yes, it's scary, but it's possible. We really needed that vote of confidence. So thank you so much to that. We also owe a huge thank you to our #1 fan and cheerleader, our mentor Anthony Malero.
Even though he told us he was withholding some help from us yesterday.
He knew the whole time.
We're not holding against him too much. And of course, lastly, but most importantly, we thank the Illinois State Library as well as the Institute of Museum and Library Services for running ILEAD. We couldn't have met each other and become such great friends, and we couldn't have created Project Sheldon without this opportunity. So thank you so much for this. We can't tell you how much we appreciate it.
Our hats off to everyone.
Now at this point, we are going to be passing out some postcards with information about Project Sheldon on it, how to follow our project, how to get to that survey, because I know you all want to enter to win $25 gift certificate, right?
Yes.
Okay, and because we are the engaging ones, we love to engage with people, so we would love your questions. Any question you have, please feel free to ask us, either now or we've got an email address. Contact us via email if you don't feel like speaking up, but we're really, really hoping you have questions. So if you have some, now's the time.
Yeah.
Where do we go to get the app? Can we just go in the Android market?
Right now it is in beta, so it's not ready to be released to individual libraries. We are hoping by spring to have a beta version.
We still have some work to do before we have a full pilot going, but right now we have, about 30 libraries contributing actively, and we're going to go from there.
Yes?
So can you explain how much work it'll be on the library's part who wants to participate, and what they have to do to continue to participate?
Basically because this pulls automatically from library calendars. On that end, they don't need to contribute anything. What we do ask from libraries is advertise it to your teens as you would any program. Flyers, just random off-the-cuff talks with teens. Tell them, hey, have you heard about Project Sheldon? Find out what's going on. And also, the Talk to Me is completely voluntary. So if you'd like to be a part of Talk to Me, you can let us know. And that is at the discretion of the teens how often they want to talk to a librarian.
Anne had a question.
I would encourage you to share whatever you can on the ILEAD listserv. That would be a really helpful way for us to know when it does come out. And secondly, I wonder if you had thought about, I saw that you had all kinds of events that were pulling up maybe once the user gets into the app, then having one thread for teens and one thread for adults and one thread for kids, so that you don't, you could, because it has so much possibility to be so many more things.
Those are fantastic ideas, and we do see the app as being adaptable for different services. Of course, we're still focused on teens right now.
Right.
But yes, faceting it that way, we think that we could do that pretty easily. A lot of what would help down the road is, we are just pulling the raw XML feeds from these event calendars that are already existing. As we get more libraries participating, we may be able to sort of introduce some titles for, groups of events that would help narrow that down a little bit more. But yes, thank you.
David, you had a question?
Yeah, I have to say I really love the Talk to Me button. Because it's, having lived through the virtual reference wars, it's not ask me, it's not, for assistance please, it's talk. So it's like an invitation to a conversation. I'm curious though if you thought about possibly expanding that pool of people that they could talk to. I mean, librarians are one, and I think it's really a question.
Keshia had a great suggestion from somebody that she knew who said that this could be adapted to social services.
Yes. Yes.
I was just going to say, we set up our advanced calendar quite a while ago. So I don't think that libraries that participate would mind changing their categories. And that could be a condition of joining this, is that you have to set aside this category for teens or whatever you're going to use. Certain age groups, so that it's standardized.
That would be a big help, because we did try to filter at first, and it's taking a little while because some people call it teens, some people call it young adults, some people don't have young adult programs, and they're just kind of clumped in adults. So they would get, there was a program yesterday called Nitwits for seniors, and I'm really sure they weren't talking about high school seniors.
Well, I'd also like to know how, I would love to get involved, because I'm up by you guys, so, anything that we can do as far as testing or being involved.
Yes, we are actively pursuing beta testers. We will be frank, the libraries that are included in here, some of them don't know they're included because we really have just pulled their calendar data. Surprise! You might find your library already there, but if you want to help promote it, we'd love it.
That's what the cards are for, so that we would love for you to contact us.
I'd be curious to know, in talking to the actual teams, how did they influence the project? Where did they drive it that you didn't expect?
Well, part of it was coming up with, when we did the surveys, to kind of find out how they get their information. And so that's when we were talking to teams. And how do you find out about library programming? How would you want to learn about it? What would you like to, also with that Talk to Me button, if there's a particular subject that's maybe not covered in a general program that we're thinking about for teens, they can drive new programming. Ideas.
Yeah, we found a real potential for responsive programming and impromptu programming, especially with the Talk to Me button. We know teens that have certain interests, and if somebody comes to us and says, I really like knitting while I watch anime, we can match you up with somebody. We can do that tomorrow. We can do it in 6 hours.
Largely, they just wanted a responsive audience, somebody to listen to them, somebody to help maybe find a way for them to connect with people with similar interests. So we thought this was a great open platform for that. Yes?
Will there be opportunities for libraries that don't use Google Maps or Events?
Actually, the way the code works is we can pretty much work with any calendar. We started with Events because honestly it was the most difficult to work with. Events has a very hard code to crack, which is why we went from an Events calendar, importing it into iCal, and then taking that into Google Calendar. So it works with any calendar you have. We're going to probably work on, Plinkett next?
Yeah.
So even if
it just has to, right now for us, it needs to be a calendar that has an XML feed available. If you're just posting your events on the page on your website, we can't do it.
If you don't have a calendar, the Google Calendars is free.
And
I've seen some very nice Google calendars. In fact, UIS's library calendar is a Google calendar, and they were on our demo. We didn't pull up any of their events, but they're in there. We didn't ask permission, Sarah, but we thought we could do it.
What did you use your grant money for?
Equipment. None of us had smartphones, and very few people in our libraries were using mobile devices. And so we purchased 4 Android tablets so that we could take them back into our libraries and show people what we were doing, demonstrate it to teens, demonstrate it to other librarians, and have a visual form for feedback. We also purchased Mac Minis. We are not Apple phobic. We just knew that Android, as far as development, was a little more flexible. But we needed the Mac Minis because we knew we needed iPad. And those have been a godsend, quite honestly, as far as programming this.
and when we're ready to take it to that platform, we've got something to work with.
Right.
I have one last question to finish up. Did you ever, at the beginning of this project, think that you were going to be on a stage talking about, as long as it's got an XML feed, we can handle it? Ladies and gentlemen,